Third liberating structure, 15% solution. This supposedly comes from the business world. The concept here is that 85% of whatever you're dealing with, you have no control over, right? And probably a lot of you can relate to that, right? You're getting told what to do. You've got certain things you have to do during the day, etc., and you just have to do them. You don't have control over them. But the theory is 15% you actually have control over. So rather than focusing on the 85% and talking about why this isn't going to work, because you don't have the power, focus on the 15% where you do have the power. And so the story in business where this comes from is an American hot sauce company. Americans love their hot sauce. And there was a company that was looking to make a hotter hot sauce. And so they had engaged a bunch of focus groups, and they had people in chatting about how to make a hotter hot sauce. And the biggest challenge for the guy facilitating these groups was he knew much of this was out of his control. If he went back to the senior team and said, we're going to have to develop a new production line, new labels, new everything, that probably it was going to be too risky and they weren't going to do it. So he went home that night with his bottle of hot sauce, and he started thinking, well, what could I do what is within my power right now that I could somehow achieve this hotter hot sauce thing? So he looked at the bottle, and he looked at the little stopper at the top, picked up a drill, made a bigger hole, and then tried it on his food, and it was hotter because there's more hot sauce on his food. And he went back to the company, slapped a fake label on it and said, we've got this new hotter hot sauce product, what do you think? Did it in focus group trials, people loved it. All they were doing was putting more hot sauce on their food, which from a company perspective is fantastic, right? All they have to do is make a new stopper, put a new improved, hotter label on the bottle, and you're gonna use more hot sauce, which means you have to buy them, everybody wins, right? So that's the concept of the 15% solution. So when you go through a TRIZ exercise or something like that, people will see multiple things that they have no control over. For example, I don't have time. Hospital's not going to hire more nurses. So that's out, right? But you may have control over where the alcohol gel is placed. Or you may have control over how much of it you need on the wards. You may have no control over how things are being measured, but you may have control over how you feed back the information. So we do a lot of work on stopping patient falls. And one of the biggest things has been when you feed back the data to frontline staff is, we had 5 falls per 10,000 patient days. Nobody has any clue what that means, right? It's just an abstract number. But if you say we've had 17 days without a fall, that means something to people. They can put signs up on they actually do this, put signs up on their walls saying number of days without a fall, etc., and that's how they're taking charge of the data. So it's about finding that thing that makes sense to you. So let's do an exercise here. So does one of you, I'm going to have to get audience participation here. Does one of you have a challenge right now that you're really struggling with that you'd like to share? Okay, use of PPE. Okay. Or in some cases, use it the right way, right? Because they're probably not using personal protective equipment except for gloves that they're misusing. Which again, I don't understand, but it seems to be a universal thing, right? That's a good one. So let's say you were walking on with a group of staff working in a particular area, and you presented this as this is something we need to work on. You could start with a TRIZ. How do we ensure none of you ever wear this the right way? Right? Don't make the gowns available. Get rid of the signs. Make sure the masks aren't there. If you use respirators, for example, that none of the right size respirators are available. You could go on and on of all that list. And then ask them, is there anything that you have control over that you can make better? So again, it's that idea of don't tell me about how we don't buy enough gowns or things. With what we have, what could you do to make this better? So that's sort of the idea.